Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Ngā memo te wharenei, tēnā tātou katoa. Mr. Speaker, can I preface my contribution to today's bill with a couple of acknowledgements? Firstly, some 40 years ago, Mr. Speaker, an 80-year-old woman that we all know, Dame Whina Kupa, left Te Apua to lead the historic land march under the banner of no, not one, not another acre more. Mr. Speaker, her legacy around protecting Maori land, for me, is a preface to my contribution to this debate. Her commitment 80 years ago is something all Maori members in this House need to uphold, and her commitment to not another acre more wasn't just about those non-Maori who may be threatening to take whenua, but actually amongst our own, I'm sure. Mr. Speaker, that fine lady, in my second contribution, I want to acknowledge another Māori member that's going to join us very shortly, Marama Davidson, and I look forward to her expertise in joining us here in the ranks. Mr. Speaker, can I turn to the purpose of this bill and thank the Minister for outlining its purpose. Labor, can I put on record, will support this bill to select committee, but with reservations, Mr. Speaker, reservations that I hopefully will outline in my contribution. As the Minister has outlined, the main aim of the bill, which is an omnibus bill, is to amend the Māori Purposes Act 1991 as so far as it governs the Wīpere Trust, and it also amends the Māori Trust Act's Transitional Provisions Order 2012. Can I add, as the member of Ikoro Rāwhiti, of which Wīpere Trust descends from, can I also join that is a very successful whānau whenua trust. I too whakapapa to that, having a descendant of Thomas Halbert, who is actually the father of Wīpere. So I acknowledge my whakapapa to this particular bill and what its intention is. However, Mr. Speaker, when we look at what it's trying to create, and I'm going to go through them one by one and offer some comments around what this bill is trying to achieve. Let me first turn to the provisions in which I support, outlined by the Minister. Point 1, allow the Trust Board to adopt rules relating to internal management and governance and set out the new Trust Board's initial constitution. Clearly, as a progressive, future-focused organisation, you want the ability to run your own affairs. And to me, that makes absolute sense, and you can't do that without a constitution. So, no issues with that particular provision. We move to the next one, Sir, and we look at to remove certain ministerial involvements in the governance of the Trust. I actually think we should remove all ministerial involvements in the Trust, but we've got certain ministerial involvements, meaning there must be some good ministerial involvements where we want to retain, but we also say that that too doesn't send any alarm bells. Sir, moving to enable the Trust to acquire and hold general land for investment purposes. Again, if you are a successful business, you want the opportunity to invest, be it in land or be it in other resources areas. So, again, no particular issue there. Then we move on to allow the Trust to maintain its own register of beneficial interests. And again, it's important that those at the present time in the Wīpere Trust must have lineage to Wīpere. It's important that they maintain and update the register of beneficial interest. And I do note that if you are a spouse or a whāngai, then you have currently life interests in the trust. So, Mr. Speaker, I've pretty much endorsed 4 of the provisions. Can I now turn to the ones that cause me some concerns? Let's start with the easier one. Replace the trustees with incorporated trust board with body corporate status and limited liability. Why does that give me some concerns? Sir, we are talking about the management and the protection of Māori whenua. Māori whenua, sir. So how does turning an entity into a corporate body uphold, protect and maintain whenua? And so when I read that particular provision, which is why we are supporting it to Select Committee, so we can have submissions on that, that was definitely a concern that came out of the Te Turu Whenua reviews that I attended, all four, was the concern from Māori landowners around turning their trust into corporate bodies. And as we've seen under this particular regime of this government, profit is often always put before people. And so I want to put that on record that I have a concern with that particular provision. Mr Speaker, I turn to the second one that I have a concern with, and that is the clarified interface between the Principal Act and the 1993 Act and the jurisdiction of the Māori Land Court. It is no secret that the Te Tura Whenua, which has been deferred, again, from my experience of attending the four throughout Ikaro Rāwhiti, real concerns around what is actually wrong with the Māori Land Court. Why is this Act removing the protection that the Māori Land Court offers? And I will refer to the preamble of the current Te Turu Whenua Act 1993. And in that preamble, sir, it talks about land or whenua as tuku iho, taonga tuku iho, which means that it is to be protected and enhanced for the purpose in which we, the current descendants, are only in terms of custodialship or kaitiakitanga over it, sir. The preamble, in practice by the Māori Land Court judges, references that particular section when making decisions on land. And by this particular provision, which says clarifying between the Act, the Principal Act and the 1993 and the jurisdiction of the Māori Land Court, sir, I again share my reservations of who is going to protect the Māori landowners, which is currently done through the Māori Land Court and the preamble of the Te Tura Whenua in 1993. Sir, the third one, which I ring-fence because it gives me the gravest concern, and I want to share with you that I've spoken to a couple of beneficiaries of what we pere before I've come to the House, and that's the clause that says remove the provision deeming all land held by the Trust to be Māori freehold land. Mr Speaker, I've been trying to paint a picture around the protection of Māori whenua, taonga tuku iho, which perhaps many in this House do not understand. It is our legacy as Māori MPs, as representatives of constituencies who have been losing many acres of land, who have got, and I'm sure the Minister of Treaty Negotiations would agree, has got a small pittance of what was taken, and yet here we are potentially alienating further Māori whenua. And for me, sir, that particular provision around turning it or removing the provisions, deeming it to be Māori whenua, is a red flag to me, sir. It is an absolute red flag, and I on this side, Labour, we support it, like I said, to Māori Select Committee, but I, like many in my electorate, and I'm sure around the country, will have some keen reservations around who is going to pick up that responsibility. And I can hear people saying, well, that's been nanny state. But trust me, sir, when you get to a certain point, when it comes to Māori whenua, you cannot turn back. And you cannot turn back. So, sir, I again will say that Labour, with these reservations, support this bill to Select Committee. Beyond that, who knows? Kia ora tātou.
The Honourable Christopher Finlayson.